Okay, so now that you have all of your words, your quote on your silhouette of your object, you're ready for the next part. So the next part is actually going to be shaping all of these letters to fit within your shape. And I'm going to show you how to do that individually, letter by letter, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with elephant because I think that's my most important word. So what I'm going to do, um, it's already selected because I see this blue line under here. Now I need to go to Object, which is up here on the toolbar, Envelope Distort, Make with Mesh. Just go ahead and click it, and a little box will come up, okay? Now, what yours will probably come up as 1 and 4 or 4 and 4. What you need to set it as, we want one row, and however, so whatever word you're working on, the columns is going to change. We're going to keep the rows at 1, but the columns will change. So I want as many, the number of columns I want is based on the number of letters that are in my word. So for this one, elephant, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I want 8 columns. So you need to decide how many how many columns you're going to need, okay? So then you just press OK. And now each of those letters are in its own little column, okay? So now we're not ready to do anything with this yet. I can move this box around. The word's just going to change. But what I want to do is I want to move every letter up or individual letter up so that it fits the outline of my elephant. So to do that, I'm going to go to use this mesh tool. Okay. Now, as I go to click these, you can see these little points right here. Let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, it created these little points, and now I can move those letters up to fit the outline. Okay, so this is going to take a little bit for you guys to do. We still want a little bit of a border around there, but move your letters so that they fit the shape of your silhouette and they look like they go there, okay? Some of them are going to come out. So now, oops, I missed one, so I got to go back. Otherwise, that E looks a little funky. Okay. So I got a wave happening there. Not sure what I did. Okay, there we go. All right, so this is going to be kind of up to you to kind of play with this a little bit. See what looks best with your design. So it goes up here. And you can start big, so all these little points, oops. So you got to pay attention to what letter you're moving because I thought that was the A, and look, that was going to go crazy. So here now. Okay, so this is going to be a lot of experimentation on your part because depending on the font you use, now I'm going to straighten that out, move that up. Okay, so now it's actually kind of looking like, well, at least the top is so far, that it's moving in to all of those shapes. It looks like it actually kind of goes in there. See, and now you can get really into it and curve these directions. Okay, so you just got to work with what works for you. Now you can do the same thing with the bottom as well to make it fill the space. Okay, we don't want a lot of empty space left. Okay, so make sure it kind of fills the space. I'm actually going to go back in and do that later. So to make any edits, you just do Command Z. In Illustrator, you can just go Command Z, Command Z. You don't have to do Command Alt Z to get multiple changes. It'll keep going, okay? So now let's say I want to go ahead and I'm going to change my other words. I'm going to go ahead and go back to this and click it. I go to Object, Envelope Distort, Make with Mesh, one row, and I only need 2 columns because I only have 2 letters. Okay, Now I go to this tool over here. It looks like the mesh tool. And now you can see that it's going to start moving as well. Your shorter words are going to be a little, and notice this blue line can go outside of your silhouette because you're not going to see that. Okay, you just have to make sure that the text doesn't. Now, remember, I can always move this down too, okay? So the important thing with this is just to make sure that we can still read it. Okay, I don't want my letters so jumbled up that I can't read it. Now, we also need to be aware about how, I don't like that. We also have to be aware about how close our letters are to each other, okay? There should still be spaces between them like we're reading a sentence. Right now, these two, what I just did, it's a little too close together. So I either need to move it or move it over or make a few more changes, okay? Now, if you want to move this whole tool without the mesh, you need to make sure to come up here to this tool and it'll move the whole thing. If I stay on this tool, it's going to move a little differently, okay? All right. So now I can continue to do that with my mesh tool. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and leave that one for now. Okay, and you're going to continue doing that for all of them, okay? So I have to go here, object, envelope distort, make with mesh, row 1, and I need 5 columns. Okay, go back to your mesh tool and start making it fit. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you guys can see. So some of you might be able to have it fit in your legs or whatever type of animal you have. Whatever type of shape. I know that you guys don't all have animals. Okay, but it's okay for it to, start off bigger and get smaller to fit in an area. That's totally fine. Just got to make sure that it goes. So you can change the top and bottom. You can even change the sides and things like that. So our goal here is making it readable, but looks like it actually fits into our shape in a kind of an interesting way. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to my last one. If I was really doing this, guys, I would spend a little bit more time on it, but I want you guys to be able to get work in here. Oops. So first, I forgot to go object, envelope distort, make with mesh. So now I have one row, and I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 columns. Okay. Now I go back to this mesh tool. And I move this to how I want it to go. Right here, it might get a little tricky because I don't want it to overlap with my other word that I already have. So you might have to adjust that a little bit. Okay, oops. Go ahead and start here. I'm going to make this a little smaller. Oops. Okay, be careful not to cross them too much or other crazy stuff like that's going to happen. Okay. I can bring that up. I'm just going to leave that one like that for now. So it kind of fits in there a little bit and it, kind of goes with my shape a little bit. I'd probably still want to work on maybe taking care of the empty space in the middle a little bit. Okay, so that's something to be aware of as well. So maybe I'd move some of these down a little bit. Just gotta make sure you're gonna be on this one. Okay. So now, after you kind of have what you want it to do, I also want to change this one down here. You can't leave that one blank. So maybe I want to get with this one here. I'm going to go ahead and turn it to kind of more so fit in this leg. Kind of want it to be at the right angle though. There we go. Okay, or maybe I want it to actually go down the trunk. That could be an okay spot too. Just depends on where you guys decide. So maybe I'm going to move mine to the trunk. Okay. Then just make it fit that area. Same thing, we have to go to Object, Envelope Distort, Make with Mesh. One row, and I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sorry guys, I forgot how to count for a second. Okay, and this is going to be kind of interesting because it's kind of small. Oops. First, I got to go to this mesh tool. Can't forget that. You can't just move it. I know I've tried to do that a lot. Okay, so you got to get careful with this. For something like this, you can see that it's getting crazy fast. So you might need to zoom in a little bit. So, and to do that, Command plus, so that you can see those areas a little bit more. See all those small little handles there. Okay. You can work on making that area fit into your trunk, okay? Or whatever your shape is, okay? So, we'll zoom out a little bit here. And when you're done, you should have kind of a shape that looks like this. Well, you think back to that buffalo, but it looks like your font, your quote actually fits in there. So we'll move on to the next step in our next video.